And it wasn't too long ago that a reporter spotted Pope Francis at a record store in Rome. And by the way, we still have so many questions about the kind of music that delights the Pope. So I brought in the hilarious Yasmin El Hadi to solve the mystery. Here's part of that conversation. How do you feel about the Pope's actions?
I feel like, wow, I really want to hang out with him, like so badly. He just seems like the coolest Pope, man. I hope he was buying a Beastie Boys album. Apparently, he likes classical music. But I feel like classical music could mean classic Run DMC. You know what I mean? Like
Now,
it could mean like he has good taste. He just seems like a cool guy.
I agree with you. It's a very cool gesture. However, the gesture goes as far as the taste. Like, what happens when you look over and you see the Pope and he just pulled out like a LFO album or something like that? You know, like.
Can you imagine?
What do we do? Do you lose your religion at that point?
I'm sexy and I know it seems to not be, cool with the whole celibacy thing.
Oh,
right?
that would be. Now, if you work at a business and the Pope walks in, like, how do you react? I'm not Catholic, so I don't know even what like the proper way to react is. What would you even do?
I'd be like, hey, cool head covering. I think you missed a couple spots. I think that's what I would probably say. Like, you did the whole thing, bro.
I'm like,
I would try to high five him. Duh.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't get that close. Knowing all the protections they got on the Pope Mobile, I would like, I don't know what you're allowed to do around the Pope.
He just seemed so exposed, didn't he? In those images, he just seemed like he was just chilling in his robes.
Yeah.
I feel like me and him actually have a lot more in common than we probably have differences.
That's true.
I'd probably try to like figure out if I could entice him to like the music that I liked.
I think I might break into an impromptu Gregorian chant.
Oh,
which of course rose to popularity.
Chamber music.
I would just start my own soundtrack to the Pope in my head. Now, Pope Francis has said in the past he actually doesn't like pomp and circumstance that joins him anytime he goes anywhere. How do you like this kind of cool and relatable Pope that we seem to have?
I am all about this kind of Pope. I feel like he came to save Catholicism. I think some Catholics are not gonna like me say that, but he's just so cool. He like used to take the public transport apparently in Buenos Aires. Like he's just down with the people, and that makes me feel just like seen and loved. The real reason that I wore a headscarf, this is a real story, is that when I first came to the United States, I was a refugee. I was an asylum seeker in this country. I went to the Catholic Church that was supporting refugees because they were the ones, and to this day, they are the ones that help immigrant and refugee populations with the utmost generosity. And this nun in her beautiful habit was washing my feet and putting little socks on my feet. And I told her I like that heat. It was so cold. I got dropped off in the middle of Lexington, Kentucky, and it was cold. That's like a way station for Libyan refugees. I'm North African, and she just so much service. And I was like, wow, look at this woman. She's got no ego. She's the opposite of my mom, and yet they look alike. Like she's in this full habit. So I just thought it was just the freshest form of service. And it honestly convinced me that I wanted to wear a headscarf. Isn't that interesting?